Think about what you're spending on that side of the ball. You got $1.1 million in the quarterback. You got $900,000 in Devonta. You got $2 million in two players. Kidding me, right? And that's why they're taking advantage of it. And then you look at the guy making $2.5 million. He's one of the higher paid guys. The backup quarterback makes more than Jalen. So Miles Sanders wasn't at the joint practices again. Kid can't make the team in the tub. You cannot make the club in the tub. You cannot be relied on or leaned on as a focal point of your football team when you're constantly out of the lineup and not ready to go or available. You can't. You cannot. And I don't want to. It's got to be so frustrating right now for Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen to not see this guy in a huddle. Now, some of you will go like this. Well, he's hurt. I don't care. Dude, it's one thing to be injured. Guy has a knee injury. He comes back. He plays his ass off. It's not a string of consecutive games and years and where you're constantly talking about the same shit. Do we not agree? Our conversation about not Miles Sanders. Here's Miles Sanders in a nutshell. Watch this. He's not a very good pass catcher. I don't know what happened from his first year where he looked like he was to where he is now. Maybe that's fundamentally something that's changed in the offense. I don't know. But he's surely not effective there. His vision is kind of decent in between the tackles. I wouldn't say it's exceptional. I think he's above average. His durability is a problem for me. So when you put all those things in there, that's who he is. That's why he doesn't have a contract right now. That's why they haven't extended him. That's why they're letting him walk through his final season at $2.5 million. I think he's the highest paid guy. Oh, no, the guy at the perimeter is $25 million. He's got to be, outside of the O-lineman, he's got to be one of your higher paid guys because they don't really have a lot of money spent or invested in the offensive output for the Eagles. Quarterback's making 1.1 because Devonta's on a rookie contract. He makes like $980,000. Most of the money was in signing bonus. Quarterback doesn't make a lot. Shit, man. Zach Pascal makes more than both Quez Watkins and Devonta Smith. The highest paid guy in the offense outside of the line is A.J. Brown. Think about what you're spending on that side of the ball. You got $1.1 million in the quarterback. You got $900,000 in Devonta. You got $2 million in two players. Kidding me, right? And that's why they're taking advantage of it. And then you look at the guy making $2.5 million. He's one of the higher paid guys. The backup quarterback makes more than Jalen. So, I mean, you got an advantage on that side of the ball building your football team. Okay? A huge advantage. That's one of the things, too, that the Eagles are doing on the fly. You're not only one of the top. This is why I have a sense of urgency on why I think this team could do really great things here. Look at the money you're spending or not spending. Shit, you could spend $25 million on a wideout when you're not paying the quarterback or the other wide receivers or the running back for that matter. Better take full advantage because it's not going to be around long. That window is shorter for the Eagles financially than the window of opportunity for the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl window, we'll talk about that at the top, okay, is more open and has a wider range than what you're doing salary-wise because it will shut. Because like Xander says, if that scenario where that guy gets to the NFC title game, they win 13 ball games, they're going to extend him, and it's going to be about $35 to $40 million. Okay? And that window's over. because now you're limited on what you can do financially with the cap because of the amount of money. Look at Green Bay. They were not going to spend $25 million. Look at Kansas City. Look at common sense. Kansas City wasn't going to pay Tyreek Hill $25 million and $50 million for a quarter. They're not paying $75 million for two guys. Cooper Kupp had to take a hometown discount in Los Angeles to stay in L.A. It's not about the most money. When Les Snead and Kevin Demoff heard that in the Rams front office, they knew they had him still. And that's why they were able to extend Stafford. Look at the Packers. They jettisoned Devonta Adams. You were going to pay $50 million for Aaron Rodgers this year and $25 million, $75 million of your $200 million salary cap? No way. No way. But in Philly, you could sign a $25 million wideout when your quarterback's making $1.1 million. Okay? Your quarterback's making $1.1 million. Your other wideouts making $937,000. Devonta. $2 million wrapped up in those two dudes. Quez Watkins makes like $880 or something. There's not a lot of money at the skilled positions outside of AJ. Well, Goddard makes a decent salary. Shouldn't say that. Goddard makes a decent salary. Yeah, but Steven, I think they're preparing themselves because of the salary cap, Steven, and because of the quarterbacks in the draft next year. And they're waiting to see if this potential lives up to it this year. Because trust me, and I do agree, Xander, I'm finally going to go down the line with you on this. I agree. They're praying for Jalen Hurts to have a really good year. Because then they can extend him and offer him hometown cooking. Will Jalen take it? Probably. Okay? And I'm not saying taking a massive haircut when it comes to market value and salary. I'm not saying that. But could they give him $40 million for 3 years of a contract? Use those first rounders somewhere else? Trade up, get Will Anderson from Alabama next year? Add an insane edge rusher like that guy on your team? Shit, I'd give 2 ones up to go get Will Anderson. Are you crazy? You can have that any day, anytime. That kid is a difference maker. He's the best defensive football player that Nick Saban's ever coached. That tells you all you need to know, in my opinion. By the way, he'll have a better career than Bryce Young will. Anybody on that Alabama team right now, Anderson's going to have the better career. That guy's like Derek Thomas. He's Derek Thomas. Would you not want Derek Thomas on the Eagles? I don't know. I would. Hell, I'll take Cornelius Bennett. So I believe they want him to play well. Especially, watch this too. So Brady's gone next year. You mean to tell me if Jalen plays 15% better, his only battles are going to be a 1 year left? How about this one? Let's do this. Let's play general manager for a second here. Howie Roseman in 2 years, when Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are out of the league, who's in the NFC? Dak? Kyler Murray? Stafford? I can beat that on any given Sunday. If I'm Philly, I can beat that. Now, could that change with Lamar's situation in Baltimore or Burrow in Cincinnati? Highly unlikely. It could. But if you're Howie, how's the NFC going to look in 3 years from now? Think of that. Anybody in the East scare you? Who? Carson Wentz? Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield may be a top 10 quarterback in 3 years in the NFC. It shows you how this can change. The NFC, all the quarterbacks are over on the AFC side. Different conversation. If I'm Howie and the Eagles are in the AFC, I need a passing quarterback and a pass rusher. Don't you notice? Think of this for a minute. Look at what every team in the AFC is doing. Well, the Chargers got a quarterback, and they went out and got Khalil Mack, and they got Joey Bosa. 49ers have Nick Bosa, right? You got pass rushers. You got them all over the place. Chandler Jones now with the Raiders. Look at all these pass rushers. Pass rushers in the AFC are essential because of the quarterbacks that they have in that conference. Essential. Not so much in the NFC. I mean, Kirk Cousins could be your best quarterback in the NFC in 3 years with Justin Jefferson. I don't know. I mean, put him in a hat, pick one out, and Jalen Hurts' name may come out. Okay? Because if Hurts has a good year and wants $40 million, then we want to have the cap to sign Smitty to a great deal. But here's the one thing that I'm going to say to you one more time about Devonta Smith. You're not going to give Devonta Smith $25 million a year if he's got 70 catches and 900 yards. You're not. You're not. He's not physically imposing like AJ is. So you're going to spend $25 million on two wideouts a piece? You're going to spend $50 million and then turn around and spend $40 on your quarterback? Never happened. You're not going to spend $80 million on three players. You're the Cowboys then. Flex. So what happens if we win 13, 14 games and Hurts gets shut down in the playoffs? If you win 13 or 14 games and you get shut down in the playoffs, shit happens. Matchups happen. 13, 14 games with a football team that has a quarterback and a $1.1 million contract, and you ain't paying anybody shit on offense except for the wideout that you got from the Titans, and you got two draft choices, I'm going to be okay going into 2023 with Jalen. Why would I want to start over again? Now, or Flex, I'll say this to you, Flex. Then you're in the Garoppolo conversation. Do you move off a guy like – you see, I know you guys don't like to compare this because it's different styles. But when we talk about Jalen Hurts, it's not going to be about numbers. Barrett Brooks says that too. It's going to be about winning. Well, 49ers moved off of winning. Imagine that. The 49ers have moved off of winning because they see the potential in Trey Lance. And they think Trey Lance gives them a better chance to win a Super Bowl. The question will be, can Jalen win a Super Bowl? Even if he wins 13 games, he gets bounced in the opening round, you're back to the Garoppolo conversation. Do you want to start over? And can he win a Super Bowl? That's the major concern there. We all agree the Eagles are going to win a lot of games this year. At least I'm under that. Okay? I'm under the belief they're going to win a lot of games. Fly says, Sileo, do you think Jalen would take a team-friendly contract? Depends how it's structured. You give me, how about this? Fly, you give me a big signing bonus, I'll give you a haircut in the regular pay so you can make more moves to bring other players in. I think it's how it's structured. Remember something. When you sign a guy to a 5 or 10-year contract, that's Fantasy Island money, and that's Monopoly money in the end. That's Monopoly money. Signing bonus is where it's at. Dude, how do you know what's crazy? 3 years, $100 million is the lowest I see the agent taking. You know what's crazy? I got people that still say this to me. Sileo, you were so wrong about Deshaun Watson coming to Philly. No, I was never wrong, and nor was Barrett. But when someone guarantees $230 million, you'll play for the Toronto Argonauts. It's generational wealth. No one has ever seen a guaranteed contract like that in NFL history. Who in their right mind would say no to that? With a good team, too. Wasn't like he was going to the Jets or Atlanta. My opinion, he was either going to go to Carolina, Atlanta, potentially Philly, or New Orleans. He was going to hang out in the neck of the woods where he played his college ball, Clemson. He's from Atlanta. But when someone goes, here's $230 million, it changed the game. It changed the game. It's funny when contract negotiations are going on. A team can outbid someone else. 49ers were kicking the tires on Matthew Stafford. They got outbid by the Rams. They've been trying to move off of Jimmy Garoppolo for 3 years because they even kicked the tires on Brady in 2020. Sileo, you guarantee me $230 million, I'll clean your pool and your gutters for the rest of them. Dude, I'm with you, man. I'll go to Saskatchewan Roughriders, man. I don't give a shit where it is. I'm playing and I'm getting paid. I love it, man. It's business when Smitty is due for an extension. AJ will be traded. Well, hey, let's see if Jalen can get him the ball. Let's see. Because once again, you're talking about potential. And anytime I hear potential, you haven't done it yet. He had, and you know what? I say this with respect, but Devonta put in today's NFL with the passing game, those are pedestrian numbers. I think A.J. Brown has pedestrian numbers. I don't see anything exceptional about him. There's nothing, maybe the touchdowns. And you've really got to dissect his tape to see where he's effective. Red zone, jump balls, stuff like that. He's going to outman you because he's just physical. But he has pedestrian numbers too. 68 catches, 998 yards, 1,000 yards, shit like that. Hunter Renfro's got better numbers. I mean, Jalen Waddle put up better numbers last year than A.J. Brown did. And he had nobody. Well, he had Tua and Jacoby Brissett throwing the ball. But, you know, you've got to dissect really to look at it. And by the way, I think A.J. Brown is a top 10 wideout. I'm not saying he's not. But he doesn't have top 10 numbers. Look at him. Those are not exceptional numbers. He's not Devonta Adams or some of the guys that put up big numbers. He had a pedestrian quarterback. That pedestrian quarterback had the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. Okay? In a very tough conference. He had a pedestrian quarterback. He's 33-10 as a starter there. How dumb is that? AJ missed 4 games. Sorry, man. Part of the evaluation. He's only averaged 68 catches and 998 yards in 3 years. Is that elite? Do you think that's elite on a team that's 30-13 since Tannehill's taken over? They didn't need him last year. They still were number 1. And they won 12, 13 games last year. They didn't need him. That's why they jettisoned him. They weren't going to pay him $25 million because he's not a focal point on that team. I love how everyone thinks A.J. Brown is a major part of that Tennessee Titans team. He's not. Passing has never been. It's the running game up there that's essential. Whether A.J. Brown had 1,100 yards or 900 yards, didn't matter. It was the running attack that kept them in the game. Tannehill kept them alive, and they won the bye. You can say whatever you want. They were the best team at the end of the regular season in the AFC. Facts. They didn't have Derrick Henry for 10 weeks. That's a fact. I'm not talking fantasy shit here. I'm not telling you anything, Brian. They're not. Where have I said that the Eagles are screwed? Okay? Ryan Tannehill had Hurts-type numbers last year, and they won 12 games. So wait a minute here. Are you really suggesting to me that you actually – dude, that Tennessee Titans team beat a shitload of winning teams last year. You're out of your mind. Jalen didn't beat anybody relevant last year. Flex says, if that happens, take the Chiefs approach. Draft a quarterback that can sling that thing and let him sit like they did with Alex Smith. Look, man, I think the Philadelphia Eagle front office wants Jalen to have great success this year so they can continue to build the team. But know this. This is your final year of building your football team where you can go out and sign anybody you want. Because you're either going to move off of Jalen Hurts at the end of the year and have a rookie contract, or you're going to sign him for $40 million. It's over. Then you're going to be paying a quarterback $40 million and a wideout $25 million on a $210 million cap. Two players. And you got to remember, you got to pay them O-linemen that are the heart and soul of your team. Okay? This is the last year of the finances being the way it is. Because you're going to have to make a money decision. Get this. That's another great take on that. Guys, you got to make a money decision at the end of the year. That's going to impact your cap. And how appropriate, finally, that Alshon Jeffrey's $5.5 million falls off. Okay? So they're going to have a little bit more room in that cap next year, and it'll probably go up maybe $216 million, somewhere in there. All right. Hour 3's coming up. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Super Bowl contenders. I want to hit on that. And also, Armando Salguero from the Outkick will be with us. He was at practice today with Eagles and Dolphins, and we'll get his spin on what he saw today. We'll talk some Tua with him. We'll get his spin, especially that whole Tom Brady story. And on top of that, the owner now being suspended for a couple months. What an incredible story going on in Miami. So we'll hit on all that. Hit the like button. Hour 3. Keep it here on the National Football Show.